In the previous video session, we already discussed about cloud service models like infrastructure as service, platform as service, and software as service. So in the present video lecture, we'll discuss about cloud deployment models. So the cloud computing is classified into 4 different deployment models. So the cloud deployment models are public cloud, private cloud, community cloud, and hybrid cloud, which provides the basic for how cloud infrastructures are constructed and consumed. So first we'll take public cloud. In a public cloud model, the cloud infrastructure is provisioned for open use by the general public. So as the name specifies, in the public cloud model, all the cloud infrastructures is provisioned for open use by the general public. It may be owned, managed and operated by a business, academic or government organization or some combination of them. So either any business, academy or government organization or combination of these two can purchase as well as they can manage the entire public cloud. It exists on the premises of the cloud provider. So it exists on the premises of the cloud provider. So here the consumers use the cloud services. The consumers use the cloud services offered by the service provider via the internet and pay metered usage charges or subscription fee. So here consumers can use the service and they can pay as per their usage and they can pay the subscription fees. So an advantage of the public cloud is its low capital cost. So the cost wise I can say that the public cloud which is very cheap, that means low cost. Low cost. So this is the advantage of public cloud. However, for consumers, these benefits come with certain risk. They'll get the benefit but with certain risk. The risk may be either there is no control over the resources in the cloud. The consumers are not having any set of control over the resources. The security of confidential data. I cannot say that the data whatever we are exchanging through the cloud platform is secure enough. Network performance and interoperability issues. So these are the major risk the consumer need to pay. So the last one is popular public cloud service providers are Amazon's, Google and Salesforce.com. So the figure shows the public cloud that provides cloud service to the organization and individuals. So as I mentioned before, we are having some set of service providers like Amazon, Google, VMware, Azure, Microsoft. Also these are the examples for public cloud. So the diagram shows where the cloud service providers are providing the service to the different consumers like the public cloud that provides the cloud service. So this is the public cloud that provides the service to two different organizations or enterprises like Enterprise P and Enterprise Q. Next one is private model. In the case of private model, The cloud infrastructure is provisioned for exclusive use by a single organization. So I can say that the cloud platform is completely private to that respective organization. But within the organization, that may be consisting of multiple users. It may be owned, managed and operated by the organization. It may be owned or managed by the organization, a third party or some combination of them, and it may exist on or off premises. So the following are two variations in the private cloud model. The first one is on-premise private cloud. The on-premise private cloud, also known as internal cloud. On-premise private cloud is also called as internal cloud, which is hosted by an organization within its own data centers. So the internal cloud can be hosted by the organization within its own data center. So this model enables organization to standardize their cloud service management processes. So the internal cloud, which enables the organizations to standardize their cloud service models, and security, although in this model has limitations in terms of size, resources and scalability. So the major limitations comes with respect to size and resource scalability. So this is the best suited for organizations that required complete control over their applications. Some organizations need to have the complete control over the applications. In such cases, we can go for internal cloud. So as well as the organization can have the infrastructure configurations and security mechanisms. Organization would also need to have the capital and operational cost for the physical resources. So the second one is externally hosted private cloud. In the previous case, we considered on-premise private cloud or internally hosted private cloud. So this type of private cloud is hosted external to an organization and is managed by the third party organization. So externally hosted private clouds can be hosted by any external organization and that can be managed by the third party. The third party organization facilitates an exclusive cloud environment for a specific organization with full guarantee of privacy and confidentiality. So even if the third party is managing the entire organization, but it will provide the guarantee for the privacy of the data as well as the confidentiality of the data. So this is the example of on-premise externally hosted private cloud. So this is first one, on-premise private cloud, which is internally hosted, and the second one is externally hosted that can be managed and controlled by the third party. So the last one is the third one is community cloud. In a community cloud model, the cloud infrastructure is provisioned for exclusively use by specific community. So what we are considering is the entire cloud or community cloud model, whatever we design, it can be exclusively used by a specific community of consumers from organizations that have shared concern. For example, mission, security requirements, policy and compliance considerations. It may be owned, managed and operated by one or more of the organizations in the community, a third party or some combinations of them. So it can be owned, managed and operated by either by one or more organizations within the community, or any third party, or a third party can manage or control the entire community model. So now we'll take what is the difference between public and private cloud. So in the case of public cloud, which is publicly shared virtualized resources. But in the case of private cloud, the resources are shared privately. That means privately shared virtualized resources supports multiple customers under public, but in the case of private cloud, it supports only dedicated and limited customers. Public cloud which supports internet connectivity, but the private cloud connectivity over the internet, fiber and private network. The public cloud which is suitable for less confidential information, but the private cloud is more suitable for the secure and confidential information. So here the diagram shows the community cloud. As I mentioned before, the community cloud as a cloud infrastructure is provisioned for exclusively used by a specific community, and we are having here the dedicated for community users. The community users may be Enterprise P, Enterprise Q and Enterprise R, and we are having the cloud service providers resources here, and it can be the entire cloud platform can be managed by what I can say is either the third party or the organizations which are members of that respective cloud service. That means the dedicated community users. In the case of community cloud, the cost spread over to fewer consumers than a public cloud. Hence, this option is more expensive but might offer a higher level of privacy, security and compliance. The community cloud also offers organizations access to a vast pool of resources compared to the private cloud. So obviously within the community cloud, it consisting of huge set of resources while compared with the private cloud. An example in which a community cloud would be useful is government agencies. If various agencies within the government operate under similar guidelines, they could all share the same infrastructure. So those government agencies can share the same infrastructure and lower their individual agencies' investment. So instead of investing for individual agencies, they can invest for community cloud, and they can have the similar services as individual agencies. So next one is hybrid cloud. In a hybrid cloud model, the cloud infrastructure is composition of two or more distinct infrastructures. So I can have a private, community or public. So we can have combination of private, community cloud, or else private and public, or community and public. So we can have different combinations in order to create the hybrid model, but that remain unique entities but are bound together by standardized or proprietary technology that enables data and application portability. For example, cloud bursting for load balancing between clouds. The hybrid model allows the organization, the hybrid model that allows the organization in order to deploy less critical application and data. So hybrid model allows the organization to deploy less critical applications, that means less sensitive data or applications to the public cloud, leveraging the scalability and cost effectiveness of the public cloud. The organization's mission critical data and applications remains on the private cloud, provides greater security. So in the case of hybrid model, so we can have two set of securities. That means we can, since in the case of hybrid model, we considered private and public, combinations of private and public. So we can have the less critical data within the public cloud, and more critical data or more sensitive data we can store within the private cloud, so that we can maintain the confidentiality as well as integrity of the data. So the diagram shows the hybrid cloud model, which consisting of combination of two models. So here we are having the public cloud and here we are having the private cloud. So as I mentioned before, the private cloud where we can store some critical data or some sensitive data, but in the case of private cloud we can store some set of data where actual security is not mandatory. I can say that within the public cloud the data or information is public, and there is no actual set of security measures taken while storing the data. So I can say that the organization's mission critical applications and data, so that can be stored in the private cloud, and some set of data or applications where the actual security standard is not required, such data we can store within the public cloud. So this shows different types of cloud deployment models, like public cloud, where the cloud infrastructure is kept open use by the general public. The second one is private cloud. Here the cloud infrastructure is provisioned for exclusively use by a single organization. And the next one is community model. The cloud infrastructure is provisioned for exclusively used by a specific community, but within the community there will be a number of consumers or users. And the last one is hybrid cloud. So we can have the composition of two or more distinct cloud infrastructures like private, community and public.